May Govanen Niblings, I'm Uncle Eklinaar, and today I'm playing Lord of the Rings Online, based on the books by J.R.R. Tolkien. LotRO is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, abbreviated as MMO, which means it's only played on servers run by the company that makes it, and there is no offline single-player mode. There are always lots of other players on at the same time, though mostly I will be playing by myself. LotRO is very similar to other MMOs, in that most of the game's mechanics revolve around doing quests and gaining levels and finding treasure, and characters are differentiated in ability by a class system. It's an older game, but some qualities of this game still stand out, like the sprawling, gorgeous landscapes, the intricately written story, and loving faith for the style and lore of the novels. So here I am in the character creator. This is the first step to playing Lord of the Rings Online, and many other similar games to this also have a character creator like this that you start in. So in Lord of the Rings Online there are 6 races and 10 classes, and I have played all of the classes except for Beorning, so that's what I'm going to start with today. So as you can see, I've already selected Beorning. Now Beorning is both a race and a class. It's also one of the premium classes, meaning you have to unlock it in the Lord of the Rings Online store. There are 7 free classes and 3 premium classes, the 3 premium classes being Beorning, Runekeeper, and Warden. They're not any better than the other classes, they're just different. So Beornings are the skin changers. They turn into bears in combat, and that's about all I really know about them, since I've never played them before. I know they can do a little bit of everything. So let's get started with my customization options. So I'm going to pick female here. And this gives just a little info about the Beornings as a race and as a class. And other races get to select an origin where they came from in Middle-earth. However, Beornings all come from the Vale of Anduin, because there just aren't that many Beornings. So here I can customize my character's appearance. There aren't a whole lot of options here compared to other games. In Lord of the Rings Online, most of the options for customizing your appearance comes later in the game. You unlock them as you play. So I think I'll go with this one for the head option. So for hairstyles, there's a few different hair. I think this first one is my favorite, though. All of these others are none of the others have a braid in them like that, I think. And then the rest of these, I believe, are shorter hairstyles. Yeah, so I'm going to go with this one. Let's see. Eyebrows. I like that one. I actually think that mouth is fine. I might stick with that, the first one. Oh no, I'll go with this one, actually. I like the more kind of subdued colors on a lot of my characters. Let's see. Oh, I didn't do eyes. So same thing with eyes. I prefer more subdued colors. This is the facial tattoo. I'll go with this one because it looks like a bear claw. There are a few others, different patterns, but I like that one. Let's see, for eye color, I think I'll go with gray. Gray eyes are kind of unusual, and this is an unusual character. Skin color is kind of hard to get right, but I think that's alright. Hair color, that's pretty good. I think I want it a little bit darker. Not quite that dark. Yeah, like that. That's good. And then detail color is the color of her tattoo. So I want it about like that, a nice royal blue, I think would be good. And then body type here. Not a lot of customization here, like there's more in some other games, but I think she needs a little bit more muscle. She is a big tough bear after all. And then I'll pick a name. Hopefully that name is available. And that's it. Now I can begin the game. It's a little loading screen while I move into the first part of the game.
In the vales of the Anduin, the children and grandchildren of Beorn live a rustic and peaceful life. Soon they too will need to face the shadow that threatens all of Middle-earth.
So, each race starts off in kind of its own separate area that's separate from the main game. So that's where I am right now. I'm in the area that Beorning started in. And one thing that's interesting about Beornings is that with all of the other races, you're eventually able to go back to the area that they start in, but that is not the case with Beornings. Once Beornings are done with their starting area, they don't get to go back to it, and it's not accessible to any other characters, whereas most of the other areas are. I believe High Elves also kind of at first start off in an area that isn't quite the same. Well, it's different, but I won't go into that. So this area is basically tutorial. It will teach me how to play a game, and it sure is pretty. This might be the prettiest starting area in the game. I love the frogs. So this is the Vale of Anduin, where the Hobbit, in the Hobbit, it's where Bilbo and the dwarves meet Beorn. And this guy is going to get me started on my first quest. The ring over his head means he has a quest to give me.
The blood of the skin changer flows within us.
So, I'm not going to read all of this text. If you would like to read it, you can pause the video when I bring it up. Every time I come to a quest, I'll do this. I'll leave it up for a few seconds. You can pause the video, read it if you want, and then move on. But basically, this guy is just saying he's my brother. And he's kind of upset about what's going on. He's talking about our lineage here. So he's saying our father doesn't let us leave this area. And he's talking about how we're special, because we're skin changers. So this is our father, I think. I like how he calls us cubs. And this is Radagast the Brown. So, they don't want us to overhear their conversation.
Something serious must have happened to draw Radagast here.
So he wants to know why Radagast is here, but of course we don't know. So he's sending me to someone else. And so, since he's sending me to someone else, you can tell where the person that I'm supposed to go to next is by looking on the mini-map up here in the top left corner. And see there's a ring here that shows who I need to go talk to. Look at all these animals. Hey, sheep. Hey, pig. Hey, chickens. So this sort of thing is what I'm talking about how pretty this game is. Just, they add all these little details in here. It's a very atmospheric game. And, I mean, look at the house. This house is incredible. Look at those beehives on just all over the house. I love it. All these crates and bags stacked in here everywhere. The fence even looks like it's kind of handmade. The planks are all uneven.
What brings you hither, cousin?
So we're gossiping basically about Radagast showing up, and now he's telling me that a cow has wandered off and I need to go find it. So again, on the mini-map it shows me where to find the cow. So if I head off in this direction, I will find it. Here's crops that we grow apparently, some kind of grain. Some other kind of grain. A little scarecrow there. A goat. I want to see the goat. Hey, goat. So, it wagged its tail. And look at this little vegetable garden here. A wheelbarrow. All these flowers. Lavender. Some kind of bluebell. These trees. You can sort of make out the shape of the leaves. The graphics aren't quite high enough quality to really get a good look, but I think these big ones are supposed to be oaks, maybe. And I saw some birch earlier, off in the distance. Alright, so here's the lost cow. Boy, that's a big cow. It's not like the cows that are around where I live. So apparently I have some sort of ability to speak with animals, as do most Beornings. That's pretty neat. I wonder if that'll come up later. So now this person is calling me.
I fear you have grown soft.
So he's saying, you know, we need to learn about our abilities and how powerful we are. It's also kind of explaining the mechanics of how Beornings work, which is that they build up wrath. Every other class has below their morale bar, morale being the equivalent of hit points in this game. Most classes have power, which they spend to use their skills. Beornings are different, and here's a little tutorial for it, which I'm not really going to read, because I already kind of read this in advance. Beornings have to gain wrath by using certain skills that grant them wrath, and then they can spend that wrath to change into bear form. But yeah, I'm not going to read that in detail.
There are few like us. That is why I test you as I do.
But it was just basically just explaining how it works, that if I change into bear form, it swaps these bars. And so this guy is saying, I need to practice my skills. And and learn about my wrath. So here I'm going to fight him. And I'm pressing the buttons on my keyboard to use my abilities down there. Now I'm going to change into bear form. Got him. Being in bear form drains my wrath over time, as well as being out of combat. So he's telling me to go fight sickle flies, which are these bugs out here. They're a common enemy that you see throughout Lord of the Rings Online. Now, most enemies that you encounter in the game, so it's more tutorial stuff that I'm not going to read right now. Most enemies that you see in the game, when you approach them, they will become aggressive towards you. But since I'm in a tutorial, these enemies are set not to do that, so they wait until I attack them before they attack me. And there are some enemies that do that. But you know, in the rest of the game. But most enemies will become hostile as soon as you get near them. And in MMOs, that's called the aggro radius. So there's some blackberries that I could pick if I want to. They are an ingredient in crafting, which I'm not going to do crafting on this character, just because crafting isn't very interesting to look at in a video. Alright, so I've built up a lot of wrath. I'm going to change into bear form. And it looks like this bear form ability does a good bit of damage. As I gain levels, I will get more abilities. You can see my wrath is quickly draining. And it will force me back into man form. Yep. Alright, so it looks like I've beaten all of the sickle flies. Alright, I'm going to stop this video here, and I'll pick up on the next episode right at the spot, right where I leave off. So thanks for joining me on my first adventure with Villa in Middle-earth. See you next time, niblings.